All right. So for anyone who may not know you, what's your name and kind of what do you do?
Oh, also should I look?
No, it's more of a conversation thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So my name is Nikolai Vadala. I am 27 years old, turning 28 this 2026, and I build Iron Man suits for a living, and
Yeah.
also am a full-time entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So,
So have you always been in town?
no.
Up in Berlin?
I moved to Gorham.
Okay.
January 12th, 2021.
Yeah.
And I've been here ever since.
Cool.
So.
Cool. Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Newmarket, New Hampshire. It's like
Okay.
a small town. It's about 2.5 hours south of here.
Yeah.
I was there for 22 years and then moved up here.
That's where you went to high school?
Mm,
And
yeah.
any college or no?
I tried college.
Yeah.
I did try it. But it was like, it was just, I went for engineering, of course.
Yep.
But my professor the first day I went to college was like, statistically speaking, one of you will drop out of this class. And
Yeah.
I guess I was.
Yeah.
So in a sense, he was right.
Yeah.
But it was too much black and white. It
Yeah.
just wasn't for me.
Mhm.
Everyone there was either like just playing video games in the back of the class.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
it was
yeah.
just,
Yeah.
couldn't make any friends. After like a week and a half, 2 weeks, I'm like, I'm out. And
Yeah,
it was in
yeah.
Rochester, which is like, even worse. So,
Yeah.
I think the ultimate thing, the real thing that made me drop out of college was there's this rate. So if you're in Rochester, if you've ever been in the Lilac Mall, which you probably haven't, it's like this really, absolutely decrepit ass mall.
Yeah.
And my college is right next to it.
Okay.
So I go to college, and I think it was like the day before I dropped out, and I'm like, well, I've never been to this mall. I'm like, let's
Yeah.
see, because I was like, I was getting a little bit depressed. I'm like, this place sucks. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be here. So I'm like, let me just see what this mall's all about. I kid you not, the mall had like one store.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know what? I'm out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Final straw.
The final
Yeah.
straw. It was like a 40-minute drive from my house. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm out. Like, this has got to end.
So
Yeah.
after dropping out of college, is that kind of when you started your entrepreneurial journey?
No, actually. So, it's funny. I actually started my entrepreneur journey, I think, technically speaking, around COVID.
Okay.
So I was actually during COVID, I think from like August 2019 to March, I think 16th, 2020.
Yeah.
I was working in a small computer repair shop in my
Okay.
town, Newmarket.
Yeah.
And the company was going under once the pandemic happened because, like, who's doing computer repair?
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for that when like,
Yeah.
the world is, like, going to shit?
Yeah.
So they laid all of us off and we're shutting down for a bit.
Yeah.
And so once I got laid off, I'm like, well, what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
I had no job. The world seemed to be, like, ending.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the best thing I can do is just build. It's
Yeah.
all, it's the only thing I enjoy. And it was the one thing that kind of brought me peace in that time.
Yeah.
So I started building, and my friend, who I ironically just hung out with yesterday, back then he was like, I have a TikTok account, and I got like 200,000 views on one
Yeah.
video. I'm like, what? I'm like,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
do you do? It's like, because we're working at Domino's. He's like, I posted some Domino's like video, like working with the crew, and like got 200,000 views. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
So I checked it out, and he actually did. I'm like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, you should give it a shot. I'm like, because like TikTok used to be Musically.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I don't want to be like dancing.
Yeah.
I just seemed so cringe, and I had like no drive to do it. But I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'll post like one of my Iron Man helmets on.
Yeah.
First video got like 2,000 views. I'm like, oh. I'm like, that's actually kind of
Pretty good,
surprising.
yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Next video got 1.1 million.
Wow.
And that to me was like, oh, I'm like, this is actually like real.
Yeah.
This isn't like bots. I'm like, I got like, 10,000 comments. I'm like, this is actually like kind of insane.
Yeah.
And then I posted some more videos, and it was just like 200,000 views, 300,000, 500,000,
Yeah.
2.3 million. I'm just
Wow.
like, what is
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
found out very quickly there's actually high demand for my kind of content and what I'm doing. And since then, actually, since COVID, you've seen this like huge uptick in people building Iron Man suits.
Okay.
There was like 3 or 4 people back then that were prominently making suits, and I was like one of those
Yeah.
people. So it's pretty cool.
So going back a little bit, you got laid off from your job, and then that's when you started building Iron Man suits.
Yeah. Well, so I actually started originally in 2012.
Okay.
I've been building Iron Man suits since 2012 in Newmarket. Just like in my living room, then
Yeah.
like to my basement, then to my
Yeah,
garage. I
yeah.
kind of like moved around the house,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
expanding.
yeah.
Because like I acquired so much stuff. I'd go like down the street and pick like, basically not through people's trash, but like if they're throwing away like a computer monitor or like a chair, I'd be like, all right, I can use that for the lab, I'd go to UNH colleges that have like spring, like they basically get rid of all their stuff after spring break.
Okay.
I'd collect all their stuff, get computers, just tons of parts. So I basically just like stockpiled for like 8 years. And I was like teaching myself like exoskeletal technologies, like weight distribution, mechanics, electronics, and
today's episode is brought to you by Poulin's Polish. Poulin's Polish is an automotive detailing business I started that offers inside and out detailing, buffing, polishing, ceramic coating, undercoating, and more. We service cars, trucks, boats, tractor trailers, etc. in the northern New Hampshire area. Call or text 603-728-5806 to book. That's 603-728-5806 to book.
I just kind of had it as like a personal hobby. I didn't really post it anywhere. I kept it to myself. I did try starting a YouTube channel like 2017. But it didn't really go anywhere. I didn't try any other platforms. It's just YouTube. And it was like maybe like 20 views per video. And it took like a few months. I'm like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe people don't want to see it. You know? It turns out it was just the wrong platform. And then 3 years later, I did write TikTok, and that was like the whole world just like opened up. It's like, damn. But I've basically been building for 13 years now.
So what initially got you interested in wanting to build Iron Man suits?
So it was actually, it's funny, I kind of worked backwards. The first film I think I saw was Avengers in theaters.
Okay.
My friends took me to go see it. I wasn't really a huge Marvel fan. And then I saw that film and I was like, okay, this is guy in a robotic suit flies around, billionaire. Come, give me a break. This is actually kind of sick. So then I got into that rabbit hole and I saw the first Iron Man like right after that from 2008. Bought that on DVD, then Iron Man 2 obviously. And then the year after, Iron Man 3 came out in 2013, saw that in theaters, and I was hooked. I was completely hooked. I think the one thing, though, from Avengers 2012 that hooked me was when Loki throws Tony Stark out of Avengers Stark Tower, and he's plummeting, and his Mark 7 shoots out of the wall, follows him, and builds itself around him, and saves, and he flies away. I'm like, that is like so ridiculous, but like, and I don't know. Something about that scene, like it was like the heart of the inspiration for me. So
when building these Iron Man suits, what's the starting point? Is it start from the feet, go up, or do you is there a central piece, maybe start from the chest or something like that?
It's a good question. Everybody starts in different parts of the body. Some people start with a helmet, some people start with the feet. I've started from pretty much all parts of the body at this point.
How many different ones have you kind of worked on?
So I've made one, believe it or not, I've actually made only one full suit. And I've made like several prototypes for like different parts. I've made gloves, I've made, boots, I've made helmets. I've made tons of different stuff, all like different parts of the body, but I've only made one true suit, and that was in 2020. And that suit I made entirely out of scraps. And for that suit, if I recall correctly, I started out with a helmet and then worked on the abdomen and the legs. But previously, I've usually started with the feet first. Because the feet is basically the boots are the foundation of the suit. And so I have to make sure that the boots are able to basically handle the weight of all the metal going downward. Because the way I build them is through like a weight, like skeletal distribution system. So all the weight is going through these joints. And if they're not built properly into the shoes, then it's going to feel really weird. Kind of uncomfortable.
What kind of like technology are you putting into these things? Is it mostly mechanical or is it?
It's a good mix of everything. The suit that I'm working on right now, which it's taking me like a good 2 years to figure out how I'm even gonna build it. Because I really enjoy making the scrap suits, but at the same time, like I've had this itch to make a very like polished, kind of like Mark II style suit where it's like all like chrome and stainless steel. But it's very expensive.
Of course.
So I've kind of actually come up with this hybrid of a suit where the innards are like scraps and things are like recycled, and then the outer shell is all polished. And I've acquired all the steel for the outside. So the inside's gonna be kind of ratty, but people won't see that.
Exactly.
So I've actually kind of like found a happy medium with that.
So that's kind of what you're working on at the moment?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm right at the stage where I'm plotting it out. For this suit in particular, I actually want to start with the reactor first. Because the reactor is basically going to be a hydrogen electrolyzer, so it's going to be basically producing hydrogen gas to power different parts of the suit.
That was my next question, is like, how are you getting power to it? Like when you first start, are you hooking up power to it, or is your main goal just completely wireless?
So the suit itself usually has an internal power system.
Okay.
Usually like lead acid batteries or
Yep.
lithium ion.
Yep.
The suit that I originally wanted to make last year was going to be a gas-powered engine,
Okay.
which would be hooked up to like several motors, which would basically act as like a mobile generator.
Yeah.
essentially.
Okay.
And I realized that like the suit that kind of suit, I don't have the space right now to do that. I'm
Yeah.
in like a small shed, and of course in the winter I can't build it. It's too
Yeah.
cold. Which I built a furnace, for my shed, but unfortunately it's like I have to stick around for 8 hours for a cooldown period to
Yeah.
make sure my shed doesn't burn down. So it's
Yeah.
so I have to kind of resort to batteries again,
Okay.
which is what I used in 2020, so it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
I can do a lot with battery power.
Yeah.
The reactor itself doesn't require a lot of energy. But right now it's like kind of just like plotting out how I'm going to build that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. And like when it comes to the helmet, are you working on like any sort of like voice activation or like AI or anything like that?
it's I've experimented with it.
Okay.
I have. For this helmet, I'm not quite sure. I kind of like the idea of almost like a stationary helmet with like very little moving parts.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff I've made has been moving parts, but it's also tricky because it's not as structurally
Sound.
secure.
Yeah.
It's not as you could easily like probably punch the plate off.
Yeah.
I like to make something that's like completely welded with maybe like I don't know, like one or two flaps that opens up that maybe like a missile comes out or something.
Yeah.
I actually built 2 years ago. I built a flamethrower into the helmet of my suit,
No
which
kidding.
was like kind of scary. I never wore it because I didn't iron out the way that like the propane comes out.
Yeah.
The propane is like liquid and gas.
Yeah,
it's very
yeah.
interesting. And so I noticed that when the flamethrower was going out, the liquid would drop.
Yeah.
And it would like catch. If my face was in there,
Yeah.
I would look like Darth Vader.
Yeah,
It was like
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be pretty bad. So I'm like, I'll leave I'll keep the prototype. I still have it. But that helmet in particular was very structurally sound. It was
Yeah.
all steel. It's extremely heavy. It's like a 15-pound helmet. It's like
Yeah.
way too heavy. So if I was to do something like that again, I'd probably use aluminum. As my guess. I don't have money for titanium yet, but ideally in the future, I'd love all the suits to be like some kind of titanium alloys.
Yeah.
Which is what Iron Man used.
Yeah,
Gold
okay.
titanium. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah. So my question was,
yeah.
so how are you learning how to do this stuff? Is it trial and error? Because I imagine it's a pretty niche thing. There's not all that many people doing it, right? Or can you go online and maybe see what some other people are doing or no?
So the problem with that is and this is where it gets very niche specific because everyone right now 3D prints everything.
Okay.
And I have an X1 Carbon from 2023. It's brand new. I haven't even used it.
Yeah.
I don't 3D print. It's just
Yeah.
I bought it to prototype like other stuff that'd be willing to sell. But in terms of like parts of my suit, I'm very much like graph paper, pencil, cardboard, and then eventually like dot print on the metal.
Okay.
Which is it's a dying building style, which is kind of sad because it's like it's real, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With like 3D printing and stuff, it's like the parts, it's all plastic,
Mhm.
and that's the problem because it's like okay, you're talking about building like a fully functional suit, but is it for like combat or for cosplay?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
I build my stuff to get like hit by a car.
Yeah.
It's like I build my stuff to be fireproof, to be bulletproof.
Yeah.
And I bulletproofed my suit in 2020, or like bullet resistant, I should say.
Yeah.
But that's stuff that's like that's to me my definition of a real Iron Man suit is one that can live up to the ultimate tests. So in terms of like looking for inspiration or in terms of like pointers, I learned very quickly that it's pretty much not possible. There's no one else that's doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
So it's mostly kind of a trial and error, kind of figuring out as you go, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, there's no college course for this stuff.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like, I have to like read. I have to research. Like, okay, like how would this electrical system work? How would it, and then build it. Implement it in the suit from there.
Mhm.
So it's pretty tricky. So.
You ever had any like tragic accidents or anything like that?
Yeah. Oh, plenty. I have several scars. I made a rocket launcher on my wrist.
Yeah.
Also back in 2020, and it was robotics, so it opened up, shot the missile, and then went back down.
Wow.
And the detonation sequence, something was miscalibrated, and the thing didn't open up to shoot out, so it shot off and completely. I mean, the thing, it was like almost like jet fuel. Like it got stuck in here, and it went off, and just like completely torched like
Yeah.
a good part of my wrist.
Yeah.
So that was pretty gnarly.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds gnarly.
Definitely one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
And I think the second worst was also in 2020. This is like also why I haven't built in a while, because it's like the stuff I do is so dangerous. I'm afraid of like burning my house down.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Where I was using the flamethrower and the activation button on my glove burned out.
Okay.
And so the propane system was left on and the gas was spewing out. And there was like a flame like coming, like it was starting to like form more. Like,
Yeah.
and I had to have my friend go behind me and turn all the valves off because
Wow.
I couldn't do it.
You couldn't reach it.
You know,
Yeah.
I was in like a full like 100-pound exosuit.
Yeah.
I literally could not. So my friend was recording and he like threw his phone down.
Yeah.
Turned off all the valves. Like, dude, I'm like, I'm gonna explode.
Yeah.
Turn those fucking valves off. It was super nasty.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, those two were definitely like my favorite.
Yeah,
I think accidents.
Yeah.
Could have been a lot worse. I had like a shoulder mounted rocket launcher as well, which like that didn't mess up, but like is one of those things where like if you don't do things like precise,
Yeah.
it could end up so horrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I could turn into supervillain in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But
So when you say like rocket launcher, like what is that like shooting?
usually like fireworks.
Okay.
Yeah, like usually high grade fireworks. I
Yeah.
really want to get into making my own pyrotechnics, but of course I can't do it in like a house.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I have
yeah,
to
yeah.
have like some kind of like garage
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Give me just 1 second
Yeah,
here.
no worries.
It's cold as like so severe. My
Yeah.
nose has been running this whole season. Ever since like October, it's just like, oh
Mhm.
god.
Yeah.
It's a nice mic, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
But yeah, I would imagine, like you said, there's a lot of engineering that's just that as well as kind of just stuff you learned along the way, or
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I hand cut, I hand measure. I don't use CAD for
okay,
anything.
that's what I was kind of wondering.
I'd love to, but the programs are very expensive,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, it's not really useful unless you have either a machine to plasma cut the parts,
Yeah.
or if you want to send them out, which also is money. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So, you know, when I was younger, I came to the conclusion that like, okay, I can't like, I don't have the money for all this, so I'm gonna have to just do it the old-fashioned way.
Yep.
You know, so what I do basically, my method of building, to simply break it down, is basically drawing a sketch and graph paper for like a part design.
Yep.
And then what I do is I take that graph paper, I put it on top of a piece of cardboard.
Yep.
I take like a little needle from like a thumbtack, and
Mhm.
I just press in all the like every single dot like outline
Yeah.
basically. So now that outline is in cardboard, and so basically I take a pen or marker and I trace the dots on
Yep.
the cardboard, cut the cardboard out. Now I have like a pretty much a prototype panel.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, and I can figure out like, okay, if the panel big enough, how's it gonna look when it bends?
Yeah.
And if everything checks out, what I do is I basically just trace that piece of cardboard on the metal, cut the metal, and now I have a full functional piece.
Okay.
And I have to do that for like every part of the human body.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's very tedious, which is why I've never made like a fully refined like Mark II style plated suit.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
There's so many panels,
Yeah.
not including like all the joints and stuff, and
Yeah.
the electronics, which is like also a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, a lot of time. So
Yeah. I feel like the hardest thing, just in my head, if I were to try to do that, I feel like the wiring would be difficult, or is that on the easier side of things?
you know, the wiring is actually my favorite part
Really?
of it. Except when it breaks. and
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
to trace it.
Where it is, yeah.
That's where it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, so like I've spent, like I said, like at least the last 4 years, like just stockpiling parts and
Yeah.
wires and stuff
Yeah.
that I've found from yard sales and people that just like throw stuff away.
Yep.
Like I think a month or two ago, I posted in the Berlin Gorm group chat. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get some snow blowers.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
throw anything away. Like let me know. I'm looking for scrap, and I got like 4 riding lawnmowers.
Nice.
You know, and like 3 or 4 snow blowers. So I
Yeah.
got like a whole bunch of parts. But it's just that the space is the issue. You
Yeah.
know, I've come to the horrible conclusion that I've outgrown where I'm at.
Yep.
And I need to like pretty much become super successul, like be able to free myself and move
Yeah,
out to
yeah,
like,
yeah.
a new spot, you know.
Okay.
So
Yeah, going at trying to be more successful. What are some of the other kind of journeys that you started?
oh boy. Well, I really got into serious entrepreneurship, I'd say like November, December 2024.
Okay.
That's when I was working as a cashier at a gas station at the time. And I was like, you know, I'm 26 years old. I'm
Yeah.
like, this has got to like, something's got to give here.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm getting my mid 20s now, my late 20s, and I'm still a cashier. I'm like, okay, something's really gonna change. I
Yeah.
had that kind of like epiphany where
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
if I want to have kids, I want to get
Yeah.
married. You know, I'm already engaged. It's like now I got to take life a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
So I started to figure out, I'm like, okay, what would I want to do? You know, and I really got like, I don't know exactly how this happened, but I really got into like digital marketing and
Yep.
marketing for businesses and
Yep.
social media marketing as well, which most people like SMMA.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I got into that, and I started off my business as a social media marketing agency, and I went to a small business in Gorham, and I found out. I asked, you know, I'm like, hey, do you guys have anybody that does their social media? They're like, no,
Yeah.
not really. Like, we, you know, we have a Facebook account, but like we only post to it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, for yay amount of money, you know, per month, I could do all your posting on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram,
Yeah.
you know, YouTube. Start a YouTube channel for you guys. And they're like, you know, okay, we'll talk about it and get back to you. So I was like, okay, let me, you know, let's see if this works. A week later, they're like, you know, we actually want to do that, and that was like my first like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like I actually kind of did it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I talked
yeah,
to my,
yeah.
I like sold my services, and it actually worked.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I'm like, I know I'm good at talking. I'm good at selling. I'm like, okay. So that worked out. I got paid and everything, and the business, like, I slowly. It was really unfortunate because I turned from going into like social media marketing to like full management of the entire business.
Really?
Yeah, because one of the managers left.
Okay.
And she left like everything behind.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy, like, there's no like foundation for this place. I'm like, this. It was actually like really bad.
Yeah.
So I got sucked into that. Took a step back from the social media management of it, and it was just like full ground up management. And I think around April, or actually, let's see here. I was doing that December, January, pretty much to like I think March or April.
Yep.
But I think at February I wasn't getting paid anymore, and I was like, okay, I need a job. So I started as a Domino's delivery driver.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like my new like method of making money. And then I left that first business where I was getting paid. I think around March or I think it was around April, like April like 16th or something.
Yep.
And while I was doing Domino's deliveries in I think like mid-February, I heard the Exile Burrito, the restaurant, was closing down for reasons I had no idea. Just said they were closing down. So I'm like, that's interesting. I'm like, I wonder what's going on with that.
Yeah.
So I think the next day I went over, and it was like, you know, super like line out the door. I mean, there was like people everywhere. Like, you know, all these people were like, you know, what's going on?
Obviously, there's a demand for it, right?
Yeah, there's a huge demand, and you know, I was like, you know, really curious of what was happening.
Yeah.
So I go in there, I got some food, and I talked to the cashier. I'm like, hey, what happened? You know, it's like, oh well, economic difficulties, rising food costs.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay, so like at least it wasn't like, you know, they failed a health inspection. I was expecting like that, or like somebody passed away.
Yeah.
Something like tragic, you know, because they went from like advertising one week to closing the next week.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, something really like bad happened.
Yeah.
And so eventually I went back to the cashier. I'm like, hey, I'm leaving my number. Can you pass this on to the owner? Like, talk to him, you know, and just see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I wait like a week or two, and the owner finally gets back to me. He's like, hey, he's like, you know, I heard that you want to figure out a way to help. He's like, I, you know, wouldn't mind talking to you at some point. So I'm like, okay, sweet. I'm like, this is great. So I think it was like the day or two either before or after the close. I waited like 2 hours to talk to him. He was in the kitchen working, you know, helping out and everything.
Yeah.
And I think it was maybe like the last 2 days they were open. And I talked to him after they closed, and he explains me the whole situation. I'm like, okay, so it's really just a matter of money.
Yeah.
It wasn't like anything bad. It was just like, you know, economic difficulties and just like keeping up with the business. You know, because like the hardest thing with like especially like a taco burrito business is like all the produce, like all the different ingredients you have to mix together.
Yep.
It's not just like, you know, burgers and fries, where it's like, you know, okay, fries, all potatoes.
Yeah.
Burgers, all beef, and then cheese, and then and then, you know, the buns. It's like that's it, you know. But with like tacos and burritos, it's like, okay, you need the lettuce, you need the cheese, you need the tomatoes, the onions, the green peppers. It's like 1,000 different ingredients, you know. And the other thing too is that, like, you know, for this like demographic, it's not really the most sustainable idea, you know. Like that idea would be perfect in like Portsmouth, you know, where there's like tons of people, you know, because he had like a music thing going on too. That whole idea would have been, I mean, unstoppable in Portsmouth, you know, which is where I basically grew up. I was like 30 minutes from Portsmouth, you know. So, but up here, it's like everyone is kind of more, I guess, like simple in regards to like food choices, like pizza, burgers, chicken, you know, which is like one of our most popular items is burgers and chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it closed down in February. And we work on a business plan for like the first like 3 to 4 months. And we met like every single Wednesday for like every week until like I think July.
Yep.
We had our first test trial day on June 20th, 2025, and it was a huge success. It was just burgers and fries. We didn't even do the tacos, burritos, just
Yep.
burgers, fries, I think chicken sandwiches. Huge success. We waited 2 weeks and opened up on July 3rd, 2025. And it was like, I mean, hell's bells. It was crazy. We were like super slammed. Business was great.
Yeah.
And everything was actually doing pretty good. And I felt like, okay, this idea is going well. And, maybe like, with me here and running things, like it's just running smoother.
Yeah.
And then around like September, October, business starts to slow down. I'm like, this isn't good.
Yeah,
I'm like, I hope this isn't going to be like a steady decline. It was. So right now, like, we're pretty slow, but around like, I think right before Thanksgiving, I'm like, we need to do something fast.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is like scary.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've hired several employees like who all have like families, and one of them's going to be a dad soon, and it's just like, now it's like I'm responsible for people and everything, which is a position I'm not used to being in, but it's like, I genuinely want to see them succeed and us succeed, and it's not just like employees, it's not just like coworkers, like this is like it's turned into like a family. You know what I'm saying? Like we all like hang out with each other outside of work. We all text each other, call each other, just talk to event. Life events are going on. We all reach. Like it's so much different than anything I've ever experienced in a work environment. To put it simply. And so I realized I'm like, okay, we're not flipping the food fast enough. What do we do? And I thought back to my days at Domino's, which was like literally months prior, and I'm like, that was like most of the sales were deliveries. So I'm like, what if I create an in-house delivery service? Because obviously we can't afford to hire people, so like I'll freaking do it. I'm like, I got a vehicle. I know this area like the back of my hand because I just did Domino's. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And so that instantly just, exploded. The deliveries have been like great.
Yeah.
I serve all of Berlin, all of Gorham, parts of Milan, and parts of Shelburne. So I cover like 4 towns basically, which is like pretty much like a 14-mile diameter.
Yeah.
Because it's a 7-mile radius, but in a straight line, and of course, like this area is kind of like in a curve.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's been great. We're still having the issue of, kind of exposure in terms of like people knowing that we do the deliveries.
Yeah.
So this January, I'm going to be hitting a very kind of guerrilla marketing campaign where I'm just going to be going out and just really spreading the word.
Yeah.
So we can kind of survive. Because we're in I don't want to say the exact same situation, but it's starting to become eerily similar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where, business is just slow. People are saving their money, for oil and, things that are necessities. And they're not necessarily like, ordering out to eat.
Yeah.
And that's just with every business around. That's just not just us. That's everybody.
Yeah.
So, I've been kind of like, it's been a lot of, I guess, anxiety,
Oh, totally,
like, I've spent 10 months trying to resurrect this business from nothing, like it died out.
Yeah.
And, we have a whole new crew, whole new menu, so the last thing I want to see is it fail. So, I think like early December, I'm like, okay, just in case everything goes to crap, I'm like, I need to think of something maybe on my end to like take the edge off, because if I could contribute, like, let's just say $10,000 or something, just to get us to like March, I'm like, that would be great. I'm like, that's all it takes, honestly. So thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, what can I do? I have an audience of like over 500,000 people off of social media. I'm like, there's got to be something I can sell, something I can create. So I have a clothing idea that I came up with early December that I actually am really excited about. And I just went down to Concord to LLC the company yesterday.
I know. I saw that on your Instagram
Oh,
or
you
something.
did? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the company's called Push.
Okay.
And it's basically going to be like the next Nike, the next Puma. Because we haven't really had like a major like sports company like come out in like in a long time. I mean, at least the ones I'm familiar with, like Columbia's been around forever since like I think like the 60s or 70s. Adidas has been around as long as Puma, I believe. And Nike's been around forever. Like all these companies have been around for a long time. So it's like I'd love to create like a company that's like fresh, that actually has like backing behind it.
Yeah.
Because like I've sold clothing before. I've come up with brands before like 1,000 times. I've watched a whole bunch of people create like clothing brands from nothing.
Yep.
And a lot of these influencers, they create brands with no backing. There's no like kind of message or story with it. It's just like, no, buy my merch, bro.
Yeah,
it's
just because it has their name on it or whatever, right?
Yeah, you know, and it's like, dude, like, the last thing I want is to have a cliche like, you know, story,
brand,
where it's just like, I'm just selling it to make money. That is like, yeah, I'm obviously selling it to make money, but I'm selling it to represent like a message and a story.
So do you have your message yet? Do you kind of have your, if you want to share it or can share it?
Yeah, I mean, the message is basically I'm building this company to save a small business.
Okay.
You know, and to save my employees.
Yeah.
You know, because again, in case the restaurant isn't able to make it, this is the last thing I can think of to be a possible, like, you know, Hail Mary. you know, it's just try my best.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like the whole idea of the, you know, the name as well, is to basically, you know, again, go as far as you can with the idea or a dream. Like, just keep moving forward, don't stop. You know, the name is actually also, I believe, an acronym. If that's the right, I think that's the right word for it, where it's like each letter like stands for something.
Acronym, yeah.
So it's basically persist until success happens.
I like that.
Which, like, again, like, it all just like lines up.
Yeah.
You know, I came up with the idea and I just like kept like building off it. I'm like, oh my god, like this actually works like perfectly.
Yeah.
And it's like it actually represents something I'm going through like right now.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, some people are going through events in their life where it interferes with their journey and their success. And a lot of people really struggle with like trying to just get through and ignore the noise.
Yeah.
And my clothing brand is to basically be a reminder to continue that journey no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Because shit's always going to happen.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
all the time. You know, like when I started, and it's also a reminder to myself to never let what happened in 2020 happen again. Just to, like, to kind of backtrack 5 years. So what happened with me is in 2020, I was having all this social media success. I mean, I was posting videos. I got 200,000 followers in like 6 months.
Yeah.
It was like explosive growth.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people would like see this and be like, you know, has that even, like, what's happening? You know?
Yeah.
So I was getting all this growth, and at the same time, my parents were also getting divorced.
Okay.
And both my grandparents died within like 9 months, which is like, I mean, a huge hit to the family,
totally.
you know? You know, they're married for like, you know, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was a humongous hit. And my grandfather died like 2 days before my birthday that year, which is like even, it was just like everything, bro. Like, I uploaded I think my last video in 2020, and then the day after he died.
Wow.
It was just like, I mean, like ludicrous crap.
Yeah,
and then divorce, family passing away, and then losing my house on top of it that I'd been in for like 22 years. Yeah. That was a huge hit because I'd lost like all my new building spot, you know?
This is our producer, Mason.
Hey, what's up? Oh, man. Nice to meet you. I'll shake with his hand. This will sweaty, so. Nice to meet you. So yeah, it was really tricky, like, dealing with all that at the same time. Yeah. And so, you know, when I moved up here, I had no shop now, no garage. Yeah. All my parts were in storage in like East Conway. You know, parents just split up. I didn't know what was going to happen with that. It was just like, everything was left in like fragments.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
Everything was in pieces, and I kind of like dropped the whole Iron Man thing for a bit.
Okay.
Like I tried my best to, like, you know, continue it, but I just like didn't fully get back into it. You know? Yeah. You did take a second for something?
Yeah, I just wanted to. So we're doing a pre-recording. It's not live. Okay. So it's recording right now, but
you do this live too.
I do it live. Yeah, nice. When it's just like when it's just like
another one at some point.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, when we have like guests that we don't know very well, I like to pre-record it, you know, just a little bit more comfortable. If they say something, you know, they don't really want to be out there, then, you know, they can get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Yeah, but so I wanted to ask you, so with your Push brand, where are you at right now? Do you have any designs, any markups coming, any
absolutely do. Yeah.
Samples?
I have the first logo actually on my black phone on the floor right there.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was kind of tricky because I almost actually like couldn't even continue because, like, I have a lot of OCD personally. Yeah. I like everything to be perfect and line up and everything to make sense, you know. And sometimes when you're in a pinch, you just can't let your OCD take over. You have to just like, ignore that and just like keep moving forward. Because, like, I was like, you know, me with like graph paper and everything else, like talking about my Iron Man stuff. I design all my logos on graph paper first, you know, because I like to measure it out and have it nice and, you know, original. And I was really stuck in this logo because I have an idea for it, but I just don't have enough time to do it the way I want to do it. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just put it in like a digital like editor and figure it out, you know. And I actually came up with like a really nice, clean logo. which ironically, actually, I think looks a little bit better than what I had in mind anyway.
Yeah.
So it actually, you know, sometimes just ignoring like just any like obstacle is like the best move.
Yeah, totally.
You know, just again, keep pushing forward. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, and again, that's the brand represents not just like the journey, but just like the motion. You
Mhm.
know, again, just like, you know, compounding efforts
Yeah.
to just get in the right direction.
So what kind of products are you looking to put out? Just like totally sportswear, like sneakers, athletic clothing, stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, like right now, probably more so athletic clothing,
Yep.
and like we're in winter, so probably like hoodies as well.
Okay.
You know, I have a really special idea for the brand where it's like there's only one like piece of each apparel ever. So basically, like, you know, let's just say you find wave 1, you know, shirt number 7. There's only 1 7 ever, and that's it. So
Okay.
everything is limited. Everything's finite to also represent the people that wear it, because
Mhm.
we're all unique. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
there's only one of us ever. You know. So I really wanted to make the brand to reflect a lot of different things, but also reflect the, you know, the uniqueness of people.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone's on their own journey. Everyone's doing their own thing, their own story. You know, so like I was recording a video in my car yesterday. Actually, it's like, you know, like for example, if somebody, you know, is working hard to start a business because their father's in the hospital.
Yeah.
Their father's, let's just say, 48 years old.
Mhm.
You know, they see, you know, one of my t-shirts that has like a 48 on it.
Yeah.
You know, like every time they wear that and they see like push either on like the side of the sleeve or like they see the mirror, like they're gonna think, and then, you know, 48, like they're gonna be like, my dad, like I'm doing this for my father. You know,
Yeah.
so they never forget. You
Mhm.
know, because like I said, when there's all this noise around you, it's sometimes very easy to get sucked away from your goal and like, you know, just get distracted in the noise. It's so hard, you know, between like, you know, death, jobs, financial difficulties, relationships, more than anything.
Yeah.
It takes you away from the mission, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, just, you know, making clothing to be a constant reminder to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I like that. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you have like a manufacturer set up and stuff like that? Or are you still kind of just in the early stages of making designs?
So I'm very much in the early stages. Okay. I'm still in the designing phase, although I do have a manufacturer that's basically like ready to go.
Yeah.
So which is great. So the problematic part of it is that since every single item is unique, I have to make
a lot of designs.
Every single copy.
Yeah.
It's like always everything's gonna be one of one. So everything's gonna be like its own job.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
so like
totally.
every
It's
design.
a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah. Which like again, I'm up for the challenge just because I know nobody's like patient enough to do that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a brand where it's like you know, every piece is its own piece.
Mhm.
Usually like very, very big companies do that. If that, but small people, I don't really see that just because it's so labor intensive, you know. And also they want to sell stuff like in bulk, you know. They want to sell 100 units of like this exact one. You know, me, it's like, okay, I want to sell 100 units, but like I want them to also like feel a connection to this clothing.
Yeah, totally.
Know? Whether it's like their birthday or like a day of a family member that's passed, or like, you know, they're just, you know, I want them to have a connection to the clothing.
Mhm.
I don't want it to just be like, oh, I bought it because it's cozy or like I like the design. I want them to actually like wear it and be like, you know, I'm on my own journey.
Yeah.
You know, and it again, it reflects the other last thing too, in terms of like the clothing, is I've wanted to always make a product that reflects something I'm going through or something I would use myself. Like, you know, and again, I'm pushing to save this business.
Yeah.
I'm pushing to save my employees so they, you know, have their jobs. Like I can't think of a greater like origin story than that.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like the other thing too is like, you know, I have a really great vision for the city of Berlin as well.
Yeah.
You know, which is why like I really wanted to help me like the restaurant come back, because like that's a huge part of Main Street is that restaurant.
Totally.
You know, I think it has the nicest lobby. I think it's got the nicest like outside view. I mean, it's a beautiful, all glass.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it's a place where people go and they feel comfortable. They can sit down for like an hour or two and play video games and just talk with their friends. It's a great environment, very warm. You know, and it's like when it originally closed down, like, you know, I remember like meeting up with Adam. You know, and just looking around like I wonder like, you know, like what this place would look like full of people. I didn't really go there too often. Just because it was a little expensive. Yeah. But the food was like so good. I mean, the steak burritos and like, God, dude. You know, and like I was just like, you know, again, like basically daydreaming about like what the place looked like full, you know, and then like when we opened up in July 3rd and the place is packed, I'm like, wow, like this, like I actually like helped to bring this to reality, you know? And the last thing I want is to like lose that, you know what I'm saying? Because the store, it means a lot to the employees, but also means a lot to the customers too, because it represents a fight to keep like especially Main Street alive.
Yeah,
you know?
like totally. It sucks every time a business goes down. It seems like we're going in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? It can be, you know, depressing, I guess, at sometimes when you see stuff closing and closing. So yeah, it's refreshing to see something growing and going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, I mean the hardest part is that when a business shuts down, and especially Berlin, which is like, I mean, according to Chat, you know, GPT and like other AIs, like it is like one of the worst like cities in the whole state, which is really unfortunate. And when that happens, when a business shuts down in a city like that, it just marks a bad reputation in the city, and it makes people not want to go there and not want to start business there, which just crushes the growth. You know, people don't want to take a chance on something that has a high failure rate. You know, me, I don't really care. I see the potential. You know, whether or not anyone else does, I see it. Like I see nothing but businesses like, you know, full to the brim, like every single spot Main Street completely full. You know, people walking up and down the streets like shoulder to shoulder, just like it used to be, because it used to be that way. You know, my father grew up, you know, basically like southern New Hampshire, but he'd go up north every year through Berlin. And I mean, it was like just the prime time. And I just wanted to get back to that. And I know there's a way. It just takes the right people to care enough about it.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, like, what do you think, you know, Main Street and Berlin needs to keep growing?
Perfect question. Great question. So I think what the city, starting with the city first, because the city over in itself has a great, you know, so what I think the city needs most is I think it needs a very large manufacturer.
Okay.
Screw the factory. Bulldoze the thing. Like, get rid of it. Okay. The factory is shipping power to New York anyway. It's like, it's not, and it's been passing hands for like the last like several decades. You know, just get rid of it. The thing's like, I've heard there's parts of it you can't even use because it's like so unsafe. Doze it. I think it should be dozed. I think either a new factory or a series of chain outlets in that entire piece of land that they own.
And you're talking about the power plant right over here? With the wood chips and stuff? Okay.
Yeah, so, I think it should go.
So what? Okay, I don't blame you. And what do you think should go in its place?
So, if I had unlimited money, I'd build a skyscraper.
Okay.
I would build a skyscraper in the middle of the city because, first of all, Stark Tower. Am I right? I mean, come on. Stark Tower, and then you know what would be? I think what would be amazing is people driving. They've gone through like 2 hours of nothingness to get up to Berlin. Through Gorham, you know, Gorham small town, that's nice and quiet. Through Berlin, they see this huge monolith. I mean, steel glass coming through the trees. How awesome would that be, dude?
It would be pretty awesome.
Seriously, I mean, that's the last place you'd imagine a freaking skyscraper just sticking. I mean, in the center of the whole city. That's the best part. The whole city is around that factory. So if you have like a skyscraper, let's just say a small scraper, and like, you know, like a whole series of like, let's just say a Target, a Starbucks, and like that whole piece of land that goes all the way to almost to Androscoggin, that's not being used for anything right now. Like that could all be used for like chains and, you know, I mean the stuff. You could really change the whole city with just that one piece of land, which has a complete ripple effect on Main Street. Because then you have these big corporations that are now settling. That's going to affect everyone. It's going to bring all these hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs in. And then Main Street's going to be packed up because people from out of state are going to see like, oh, this area is growing now. I want a piece of Main Street before it's sold out. Then you have all these people moving up, which I think is already starting to happen. I'm seeing more and more people, like investors especially, from mass moving up, you know, and buying parts of like, you know, city, like whether it's like rentals or parts of Main Street. And I think it's only a matter of time before it actually becomes popular again.
So what do you have to say to the people who want it to stay quiet and, you know, don't want all the tourism up here, you know, invading their town?
Just leave.
Okay.
Just honestly, I mean, like because that tells me you don't want growth. We want people to come to the area and be like, wow, this is beautiful. Maybe I'll buy a house here. That's what we want. Yeah, it's noisy. Yeah, it can get in the way sometimes. But we want people to come in. We don't want to have the same group here and then just die out and have a dead city. That's the last thing we want. I mean, honestly, like either leave or just deal with it. You know, like you have to change your mindset. That's like the one thing that when I moved here, you know, I barely went to Berlin. I didn't really go to Berlin till like, honestly, like last year. I mean, seriously, it never had anything for me to go to. Exile was really the only place I would go, honestly. You know, but it's like, that city has so much. I mean, honestly, endless potential. Whether it's like real estate and just like the rentals, or I mean, again, I think that factory is like what, like $66 million to buy or something. I forget the number. But I mean, seriously, if some billionaire decided one day, hey, that's a great spot. I could build an entire empire right here, and it's like great prices too. It's not like building a skyscraper in Boston.
Yeah.
You're literally, I mean, you could change a whole area, dude. I mean, honestly, and that would be like the last big city of New Hampshire, which would be super cool. Honestly.
So, I totally understand and get it, and I agree. But one thing that comes to my mind is that if you bring all of those stores and everything in tourism, then the taxes go up, right? And that pushes out natives. Is that something you would worry about?
Well, the reason why the taxes also I think are so high is because there's not enough growth here. Okay. So it's sucking on everybody who's still here. If there's more businesses and the town can generate more income per year, and you can have these big corporations giving these like $100,000 worth of taxes, $200,000, $1 million, I really don't think you'd have that kind of stagnation on the people that are
But if it becomes more of an attraction, wouldn't the property values go up at the same time?
Oh, they absolutely would. But it would help the people who are already settled.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, if there's more greater opportunities for income, like if there's better paying jobs, for instance, then everyone can make more money too to compensate for it. So it really, you can think of it both ways. Like again, let's just say Portsmouth. It's like there's tremendous growth in Portsmouth. Everybody wants to have a business in Portsmouth. It's like a great, right in the ocean, but again, it's expensive. But again, there's growth.
Yeah.
Everybody goes there. Everybody wants to be there.
Yeah. So, but what happens if you bulldoze a power plant and then a Chipotle goes up there?
Chipotle,
or a Five Guys or something, and takes away from Exile.
That's yeah. I mean, that's a great question. It could, but it's one of those things where, you just. The thing is that it's going to take a tremendous move to do something like that.
Of course, this
really...
is totally imagination and
absolutely.
Yeah,
it would take a lot for big chains like that to come here.
Okay,
it would take a tremendous amount of first of all, risk and also growth for them to be even consider having a place. I mean, there's not even the McDonald's is in Gorham. I mean, there's no they're not going to have a Burger King in Berlin. That would definitely kind of take away from where I'm at, a small business. But I think that right now, especially since we have a spot on Main Street too, it people are more willing to I think go to us as opposed to any bigger chain, which is why I deliver to Gorham as well to take away from kind of McDonald's. Because we deliver. I don't know if the McDonald's delivers. I heard they do, but I think it's a third party.
We tried it one time because we were like, oh, we heard they delivered, so let's try it. It never showed up. You know what I mean?
Really?
So,
So that's not good. Yeah, it's we have a nice hour delivery window between placing the order and bringing it to your house. It's 1 hour. And usually we'd get it to you in 30 to 45.
Yeah.
So that's but again, it's I think the other thing too is in terms of competition is constant innovation. If you have a restaurant that's doing something that no one else is doing, you're gonna be in business no matter what, no matter what goes up around you. It's we're competing with Hydro Tavern.
Yeah,
that's our competition right now.
Yeah,
so it's I have a whole video game section, and I'm opening the whole back room to have an arcade, and I also created a delivery service, which Hydro isn't doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's you think of stuff like that. It's Five Guys isn't going to deliver food.
Yeah,
we do though. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where you're faced with constant competition. You have to always outthink kind of what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. But going back a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So talking about growth, you're bringing all kinds of new people in, right?
Yep.
And of course, like you had said, you're kind of targeting more of the locals, I suppose, when you're talking about competition. So what happens if all those new people come in, some of the locals leave, and then they don't really know Exile, you know what I mean? They don't have that same loyalty to a small town business anymore.
That's true, yeah. I think that the only solution to that would be good brand recognition, really having us be a set destination in a sense. And that really goes and ties with the social media marketing side of it. Okay. Again, there's restaurants I see on TikTok that are across the country, but I still see them. I'm wow, I'd go there. Yeah. If I'm ever in Arkansas, I know where to go now.
Yeah.
So it's that's one thing that which I really have to dig into, especially considering my my following is that building Exile like a really like strong social media presence as well.
Yeah,
we have a pretty strong Facebook presence, but it could be a lot more.
Yeah, you said you coming up soon you would like to go on a marketing campaign. I was wondering what are some of the things you would like to do.
So basically going around to all these like big rental areas, like where these like I'm trying to think of the names of these places, but it's like these like converted like old schools and academies are all like houses now. There's like pegboards you go up and just post your ads.
So one of them would be like the old Bartlett School on by the river or something.
Yes, exactly.
Or no, Brown School. Sorry, Brown School.
Yep.
Bartlett is the one over by like the police station and rec department. But
yeah, because I did deliver to all these. I know the insides and outs of them. I know that like there's spots where people put their business cards up and stuff. So like just putting our menus up, just to like again spread the word. And just like really just like hammering the marketing. I mean like 3 times a day on Facebook, like really just like so that's like one of my ideas, and also like again the social media side of it, making us a destination, especially before ATV season as well. Because if we have like people who are like seeing us on TikTok and they're in mass, they're like Exile. I go up to Berlin, ATVing with my family, so it's like if we create that social media presence and it has the effect of like spreading to people that are like still in the same kind of like region, New England. We have the chance of really benefiting off of that when they come up for ATVing and stuff. So, and also snowmobiling. So yeah, it's kind of like my plan. Mostly social media based though. There's only so much you can do with like I guess
physical
advertising. Unless I like go out to mailboxes, which like I really rather not do. It's like people see that and like, oh god, not again. It's like I'd rather not do that, but definitely like going around to like even partnering with other small businesses, and be like, hey, would you mind if I put some menus here? I know it's an auto shop, but like, could I put some here?
Totally.
I'll take some of your cards, put them in the restaurant. Maybe you can take some of my menus. Which I do have actually some partners that are like that, which are really cool. Are open to that too. So that's really it in terms of the marketing strategy thing.
So I'd like to go back to push a little bit.
Absolutely.
What are some of your goals kind of to help grow there? Like, are you looking at like sponsorships, like personnel, like sponsoring a person or an athlete of some sort, or you know what I mean?
So ideas yet? What I really want to do is find people that are like right in the cusp of success, right in the really in the thick of their journey, and trying to maybe be like, hey, you want a free free one, which I think there's a brand that did that. I cannot for the life of me think of which brand it was, but there's a brand that was basically giving like, oh god, what was it? It's a fitness brand. Was it Shark? Maybe it was
Gymshark.
Maybe it was Gymshark. I think it actually might have been. And I think what they did is they basically went out to fitness influencers and basically gave them like free. That's a great strategy. I'm gonna do it. Like honestly, if I find people, be like, hey, your favorite number is 25. Here you go. You're on a journey, like, I'd really appreciate it if, like, maybe you wore this in, like, one of your vlogs or one of your videos, I am absolutely open to that. It's probably my number one. I try to avoid, like, sponsorships just because, like, in a sense, it's, like, it's just transactional. It's not, like, authentic. You know what I'm saying? I agree. And it kind of takes away from the whole, like...
But what if one of these people really believes what the brand is about and totally agrees with it and also wants to share it in the same way that you do?
Oh, that's different. Okay. That's totally. It really depends on the client. Honestly, it would 100% depend on the client. 100%. Because again, as long as they're like, doing something on their own journey. Because like honestly, I don't really see people buying it unless it means something to them. It's not going to have like crazy graphics or crazy design. It's not meant to be like, it's not meant to be flashy. It's meant to have a message and carry meaning, so I think that, and again, everybody's on their own journey. So honestly, to me, the audience is almost everybody. I mean, really, like everybody has their own goal to some degree.
I agree. You're not limiting yourself to a certain demographic, right?
Exactly.
Which is a great idea. But so are you doing any social media marketing right now pretty much only for Exile, or do you have other clients as well, or did that kind of fall on the back burner a little bit?
Oh, it absolutely, I like completely stopped the whole social media marketing with that, like once Exile started. because basically the deal was that like I was going to learn the entire operations of the restaurant. So it turned from like social media marketing into like saving the entire.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I can't even really say it started with social media marketing. I know that when we planned to like reopen, when we were in the planning stages, like bring Exile back, I would definitely be doing the social media marketing for it. But with that came just the overall operations of the whole restaurant. I mean, in terms of like, cooking everything, training people, making sure like I can manage like the front end, learning every single piece. I mean, it's actually been quite a lot. And what's funny is that back in high school, all my friends worked in restaurants, whether it's like local or Domino's.
Yeah.
And I just was like, nope, that is not for me. I have never ever set my foot never worked for a restaurant ever. All my friends hated it. They're all like, this is like, this sucks. This is like too taxing. It's too labor intensive. Like everyone smokes. And I was like, I want nothing to do with that. I'm like, I'm good. Don't forget about it. And about 2 years ago, which would be 3 years after my grandfather passed, I found out from my family that he actually tried running a restaurant on Hampton Beach back in like the 80s. I think like 85. And I think he had it for like a year or 2 years. And unfortunately, the time that he had it, the weather was just so unbelievably awful. And the business wasn't surviving, and it just shut down. And, I always, it's funny, I always learn more about my grandfather. And he was like actually like a really hard, he really tried to be an entrepreneur, like tried to like, get somewhere. And it just never really worked out. And it's something that I definitely live to achieve. And I guess kind of like surpass him and see like where he failed and be like, okay, like I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do this instead. And kind of learn from his mistakes. To kind of like I guess kind of live through his experiences in a way. And I think with that, I realized with Exile, I'm like, okay, I know I've always said I don't want to be business, I don't want to be in a restaurant, but this is a little different.
Yeah, it seems to me when I see it like you have a purpose to do it, right? You say that you never really saw yourself working in a restaurant, but to me it seems a little bit different. You have more of a purpose of growing, the community and such.
Yeah. Well, it turned from like, because originally I'm like, geez, I don't know if I can handle like running a restaurant. But then I don't know exactly when this happened, but I had this like kind of reality switch for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not working for a restaurant. I'm building a restaurant. Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, I have like full creative control. I can create like a menu item. I can I have full control of all the social media. I'm like, this is different. I'm like, this isn't just me working for like any restaurant in the kitchen slaving. I'm like, this is actually like full creative control. I'm like, which is a position I've never been in, by the way. So I'm like, okay, this kind of changes the tide. I'm like, this is different. So, from there it just got really exciting, and I was like, wow, like every time I met with Adam, I'm like, I cannot wait to see customers come in here. I'm like, I wanted with the store like with like a full line, waiting to try out like my menu item that I came up with. And it got really exciting, I also, we were in the planning phase for Exile before we opened. I actually brought up like several like images of like how McDonald's used to be with like, video games and stuff, because like that's what I grew up with. You go to McDonald's, like video games, like towers like already there with TVs and stuff, and the CRT TVs. And I miss those days. Now McDonald's is gray.
Why? All gray.
I was saying like, what happened, bro? Like it went from yellow to red to gray. Why? That just like drives me nuts. And it's like when I envision having my own restaurant, I imagine color. I imagine entertainment. I imagine things to do. I imagine things to look at, not just like corporate wall art, like, yummy. It's like, get out of here. It's like, I'm out. It's like, it's gross. Like it just like, when I realized I had full control, I'm like, okay, I can make this however I want. And then I guess I'm telling you, it got so fun after that. And then once I started seeing people come in and like playing the games, and, like, we drug out that huge pool tables in the back room for like years. We dragged that thing out, it's like 1,000 pounds. Dragged it out, and it's like the most like commonly used item in the whole restaurant. Everyone's always at that pool table. It's like, again, it brings people in the building. We originally charged for it. I'm like, make it free. I'm like, I want people to just come in here and just have a good time. I don't even care if they order anything. Just you can loiter, like just come in, enjoy yourself. You can even have it just have a drink. It's like you don't have to buy a burger, but like I find that that with that, you know, most people that come in, even if it's just like, you know, for a drink, they end up usually buying something too.
Yeah.
They smell that, you know, they see other people eating, you know, they see people with the video games eating a burger, like, God damn it.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't eaten in like an hour.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'll get something, you know, and that I've seen that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
1,000 times now. Which is pretty cool. It's like everything, you know, I have kind of a rule of thumb that I've gone by. I kind of created this myself. Business is all, it's everything. God, I already messed it up.
That's all right.
Business is nothing more than psychology and strategy. It's really just comes to those two things. If you know how people think and you know what people like, and then just figuring out a way to give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's history, you know. And it's like, that's all I've done, and it's all worked, you know. And again, it all goes to like the deliveries. It's like, okay, we're not getting foot traffic. We have all this food we have to flip. No one's come to the door. What do?
Yeah.
Bring it to the people. Such an easy solution, you know. Okay, how are we gonna do that? Oh, delivery service. Okay, you know, who do we deliver to? Just Berlin? Nah, let's deliver to like everyone. You know, everyone in the whole area.
Yeah.
Because I get, again, most of my orders are actually from like Gorham, Shelburne.
Yeah.
We get this one guy in Milan who's a great customer. And it's like, you know, because again, they never make the drive to Exile, you know, in the freezing cold with ice and crap.
Yeah, exactly.
No one can do that, you know? Yeah. I delivered people and they're like, oh, no, we're all sick. It's like, they're not going to come to Berlin, you know? It's like, they're people that need that delivery service to get the food that they want to get.
Yeah.
You know, and again, everything I thought of has succeeded up until this point. So it's like, okay, you know, and again, I think that really comes with just like taking a risk on yourself too. You know, most people are very afraid to bet on themselves.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was like from like childhood stuff. I mean, honestly, like I was coming that way for a while until like, you know, honestly, when I moved up here, like I was like kind of shattered and broken, but also was also super cocky because I just have like all my social media success.
Yeah.
And like I was working for like, you know, Berlin City for a bit. And I was a service advisor there. When I got hired, you know, I was like telling all these people like what I was doing, you know. And it kind of like made me into an outcast because I was like the only person with like this mindset.
Yeah.
You know, like doing like this crazy stuff. Everyone else is like, ugh, like where did you come from?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, get out of here, you know. It's like you're in like the North Country, you're in the middle of nowhere now, boy. You know. And honestly, like it did kind of like eat away at me for a bit moving up here. Yeah. Because like everyone around here is so different. It's very hard to find people like-minded, like forward thinkers, especially entrepreneurs most of all, who actually are doing something on their own up here. Very hard. Which is why like when you reach out with the podcast, I'm like, oh, sick. I'm like, here we go. Finally, something. You know, somebody. Thank God. You know. But it's very hard. You know, and I hope that also with my brand, it connects me to people who are on similar journeys like I am. That's another reason why, you know, the whole brand itself and the idea of it's fascinating because it's like, okay, who am I going to meet through this now? You know. Just as I've met all my amazing staff through Exile. It's like they were all just customers at one point. Every single one of them was just a customer. And now they all work with me, you know? And it's like, they're some of the best people I've ever met. It's like, that's something that like, again, through the business, I've met amazing people. It's like, okay, so what is this going to lead to now?
So going back to what you were talking about feeling like an outcast. I think it's really important to talk about. And like you said, you were talking about like your tips for business, your little quote there. My main thing is that you can't care about what other people think about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you really can't.
Because everyone's going to be like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing that for? And no one's going to understand what you're doing. You know what I mean? And I've been through it. Like ever since I was in high school, you know, I was working out all the time, posting fitness stuff. Everyone's in school, you know, oh, how's the gym? Oh, you know,
how's the TikTok?
Yeah, everyone's calling me by my TikTok name, and I'm like,
oh my God,
you know what? I'm like, fuck you. You know what? I don't care what you have to say because I'm doing what I want to do. And so that my number one tip is that you can't care about what anyone thinks, and you just you can't let it get in your head, and you can't give up. The only time you ever fail is when you decide to give up. In my opinion,
when you decide to stop.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like that was one of the things that like hit me most up here, and honestly, it's something I had to learn about myself. It was like, okay, like, do I have a breaking point? Do I have a point where I give up? And I've reached that point several times where like I almost worked for like the state prison up in Berlin as a CO, and I almost did that twice. The first time I passed this was like 2023. I passed all the tests. I was like basically foot in the door. I passed like the interview, the fitness test. I passed the, you know, eye exam, the lie detector test, all of it. Passed flying colors. And then I think somebody got murdered and I chickened out. It's just like, you know what? Never mind. I'm good. Some inmate died. I'm like, nope. I can't do it. I you know, and then I started like, I think like a snow shoveling business. Did that for like I think the first part of 2024.
Yep.
Because I applied the prison, I think the end of 2023, when I had like no money, and and then like I think 2024, right after I got engaged, I had just traveled I traveled across the country last year.
Yep.
To San Francisco, and I was like a huge maker convention called Open Sauce, where like makers like myself from all over the planet they come to San Francisco for like 3 days, and it's like they show off all the crazy stuff they're doing. And I mean, some people are making like, I mean, ridiculous like level stuff on their own. I mean, it's like they don't have like teams, and like, it's just himself. Yeah. It's like, it makes the stuff I'm doing, and I'm just like, wow, like, geez, I gotta level up, you know? So anyway, so did that, and then I also went to North Carolina, got engaged, and then I came back, and I was like dead broke. I mean, I traveled now like twice, and I was dead broke, and I was working again at the as cashier at the gas station, and I'm like, I gotta get out. I'm like, I gotta change my life, and I was at that point, I was at that tipping point, that fulcrum where I'm like, okay, do I sacrifice everything I love doing for money and work the prison, or do I take a chance on myself and like become an entrepreneur? And I can't believe I'm saying it, but I chose the easy way out. I chose the prison and the $10,000 sign-on bonus, which I really needed. And passed the fitness test, passed the interview, but I failed the lie detector test, which is so very odd because I actually passed it with flying colors a year earlier. Yeah. And I failed it the second time. It was like, it's kind of weird. I'm like, I answered truthfully everything. I failed like badly. It was like I passed with like a 9%. It was like insane. It was like I was like a terrorist. It was like crazy. I mean, even the guy was like, "That's odd." Yeah, it's like that's unusual. Yeah. And so I guess they have like a limit. Usually, like if you fail that, you fail. But like I got like a second chance. It's like, okay, try it again next week. Maybe it's like a fluke. You know? Failed again. This time it was like 30%. It was like, I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, and I think that my idea for it was either divine intervention and honestly, it might have been both. I think it was honestly a little bit both. Yeah. And I think that the test kind of saw that I just wasn't into it. Yeah. Because they asked questions about like, your past job history, criminal offenses, if you ever had thoughts of like, committing crimes and stuff. Like those questions, obviously. But I think it asked me some questions about like the job and everything. Like if I was like, and I think it actually like detected that I wasn't in it. Yeah. It was like weird. And so I couldn't do it, and I was like, okay, I'm like, I guess that
exactly. Yeah, I think it's a good topic to talk about. I pride myself on that, where if you do what you want to do and keep doing the right things, that eventually it'll work out the way that it's supposed to. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like you said, it's just total coincidence that for some reason it didn't work out, and it just happened to be what was supposed to happen.
Yeah, and it's amazing to think that in terms of like the butterfly effect. Like if I had taken that job, Exile wouldn't be open right now.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have gotten back into social media. Like it's just like the butterfly effect of that is like unfathomable. Yeah. I mean, seriously, I can't even imagine if I had done that to myself and the realities would have closed. Yeah. It's like, wow, and looking back on it, it's like, that is scary. I was like this close to doing it too. That is just like scary, man. And like, I think right after that, once I failed that test, I was like, okay, I guess entrepreneurship it is. Yeah. I got like 2 twin iPhone 16 Pro Maxes, terabyte each of storage. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to get full into content, full into YouTube, TikTok. I'm like, I'm coming up with the whole plan. And this is the dead end of 2024. This is like December 2024. I remember I was at the gas station, and there's like these big white paper bags, probably like maybe like a foot long, like foot and a half tall. Mm-hmm. And I wrote an entire like not business plan, but like basically like I guess it's like a master plan. Yeah. I guess on these 3 big white paper bags, and I'm like, if I follow all this correctly, I'll be very successful in 2025. And the first day of 2025. I had a new TikTok account that I'd made it in 2024, but I had it dormant. I had like 2,000 followers on it that were just funneled off of like one of my other Prime accounts. Yeah. I started off with like 29, I think 40 followers on that account. And in less than 24 hours on this exact day, 2025, I got 100,000 followers in less than 24 hours. Wow. On TikTok. It is my biggest achievement on that platform to date. Yeah. I think I got 100,000 followers in less than 24 hours with I think 8 minutes to spare. It was like January 2nd. I was at work, on my break in my car, like watching the numbers go. I was like freaking out, and I documented all this on one of my other YouTube accounts. you know, I would be like, you know, oh my God, like, okay. Like, because I posted myself uploading the video.
Yeah.
And like an hour later, 2-hour update, 6-hour update. And it was just like, you know, oh my God, this video just hit 10,000 freaking views. And the video hit 6 million views.
Wow.
I think it's at like 6.1 now. But yeah, it got me 100,000 followers. Then I think at the end of January, I was up to, I think 150. Then February, I hit 200,000.
So are you willing to share kind of how you did that, kind of what was on those white paper bags? Or is that top secret?
So the paper bags are a little bit of a secret.
Yeah, okay.
I honestly don't look at them too much because now it's 2020. I have to make like a new plan.
Yeah.
I'm actually in this phase now where I'm giving myself a week to make a new master plan for 2026. Something I've been like trying to work in the restaurant and like my Ironman stuff and also like, you know, every other brand I'm working on.
Yeah.
So I never really got to make it like a master plan, but I'm the one thing that I didn't do last year, which I regret, is not putting the systems in place for potential unprecedented success.
Yeah.
I had this master plan, but it was meant to be kind of like a gradual incline to success. Not 100,000 a day.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. That was like a complete wild card. So I'm like, okay, if I use the knowledge and the skills to get those results, I need to prepare for it this time. So I'm giving myself till January 8th to basically have a master plan and basically start my new year like in a week, basically.
Yeah. So can I ask what the video was that you posted that?
Yeah, I mean, on my primary TikTok, the.techmaster, it was basically like I started off with a very, very good, like 3 to 5 second hook.
Yeah.
And it was a movie quote, which is a very renowned Iron Man quote from the first film, which everybody knows. And I had the video, like, kind of like, you know, it was a hook. Slow start. I even had an intro in the video, like a 10-second intro, which like kind of kills the watch time, but it still worked. Yeah. So even with like, you know, a 10-15 second intro with like, you know, black screen, everything, not even me showing, it still got 6 million views. So like, you know, to anyone who's like, you know, oh, maybe I shouldn't put intro, I'd do the intro. Honestly, like I'd give it a shot anyway. Because it worked for me. So, you know, but the video is, I think, it was like 45 to 50 seconds long. It was just under a minute. But the rest of the video was very fast paced. It was very much talking directly to the camera
about your suit,
about my suit, about building the suit. The next one, I haven't even built anything yet. It was just me talking about building it, which is what got the attention. And I think that one of the best things to do if you want success in any video, whether on any platform, is just having the confidence in yourself to basically be like, you know, I am doing this, watch me. Seriously, that is it.
And it goes back to what you were saying about the psychology, is understanding how people think and how their attention span works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
because like I basically told 6 million people I am building an entire Iron Man suit in my shed out of scraps by myself right now. Yeah. And everyone was like, holy crap, you know, OG ticket, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my God, like, I gotta see this journey, you know? And then, I hate to say it, I got little too fixated on the first business I was focusing on in Gorham, which like occupied like all my time. That was right at this height of TikTok success. So I let that slide, of course. And then I got intertwined with Exile and got focused into that. So I can't say I lost all the momentum, but I've lost like 90% of it, you know, because like it's like that wave, and you really have to, once you get that, you have to ride the wave or else you're going to lose it. But I actually have 2 other TikTok accounts, which are all under my Techmaster brand, which for one of them from 2020, one was the first one I ever made in 2020 during the pandemic. Other one was from 2024, and then I have my 2025 account, which is what I'm continuing to post to. So I have 3 TikTok accounts. 2 of them are 200,000 views, sitting just over 200K, and then I have one of them that's like 99,000. So it's like just pretty much right over 500,000 across 3 accounts. And the reason why I discontinued posting to the other 2 from 2024 and 2020 was because I would post them and I'd be like 200 view jail. The videos would go absolutely nowhere. They'd just dead stop. But I realized something interesting very recently. Just for the hell of it, I'm like, maybe 2025, I'm like, I'll experiment, see if these accounts like still have any momentum. I posted one video to my account from 2020. It gets like 25,000 views. I'm like, they must have changed the algorithm or something. I mean, this is like impossible. I haven't seen this in years. So they had to have made some update or some change, because like these old accounts that you think are dormant might actually not be. They actually almost have just as good of a chance of success as a new account, which is really, they must have just changed that. Because like even in 2024, that account was like 200 view jail.
Yeah.
Everybody, I post constantly. It was just like no success. I'm like,
Mhm.
you know what, screw it, I'll make a whole new account.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my advice for anyone who's got like an older account is might not be too late.
Yeah.
For it. So.
And so are you looking to in 2026 get back onto that social media train a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Part of my master plan is to intertwine all 3 accounts to post the content to, which is like almost going to create this like web of like, because now they're going to see it. The algorithms are going to be promoting on 3 different accounts,
Mhm.
not the exact same. So the one thing I will say is that you can't post the exact same video to 3 different accounts.
Okay.
They all have to be a little bit different, or else you're going to get shadow banned.
Yeah.
Which I've almost experienced in my time. So which is a little bit of a killer, but it's okay because like I have my main new brand, which is where I paste like all the original like finalized content to, and then one of my plan is to basically make like alterations of that content and post it to the other 2 accounts. Because again, if those accounts are producing like 25,000 views per video, that is actually really good.
Yeah,
I did not
totally.
expect that, which means it can hit 100,000, which means it can hit 1 million. You know, so that's kind of where I'm at. Is basically utilizing all those accounts. Which is what I did. I did not do that last year, so I'm very curious to see in a week's time what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
For 2026. So,
do you think that there is any way? I would assume it would be really hard for it to be authentic, but do you think there's any way that you can use the Techmaster brand, the Push brand, and Exile, and use your following from each to funnel it together?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. That is the master plan.
Okay.
that you literally just summed it all up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's everything I'm writing on paper. That is basically it.
Okay.
My main brand is Navtech Enterprises, which
Okay.
is a company I've wanted to build for 10 years. I just LLC'd it and built it on the 26th of June last year.
Yeah.
So 2025. It was actually kind of a nightmare because 2024, during the solar eclipse, I actually announced that I was going to be building the company, and then it took me like exactly a year to get it revised. I sent it out on I'm pretty sure it was April 8th, 2025, and then it got denied because I guess like Nav Technologies Inc. exists and the name difference it conflicts.
Yeah.
In New Hampshire and I'm sure other states as well, if it's too similar of a name, you have to get approval from the person that's got it first.
Yeah. Same thing happened to me actually. I know, and I was like, screw that. I'll just throw another letter in there or something. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. But like for me, like Navtech Enterprises, like I've had that name since high school.
Yeah.
Like it was originally Nav Technologies. And then once I made up like Techmaster was like, holy crap, like Nav and then Tech. And I didn't even plan that out. That's just like how it's been for years. I'm like, holy crap, like Nav and then Techmaster. I'm like Navtech Enterprises, like everything I'm doing. I was like, this is perfect. So I'm like, I can't compromise with the name. I have to have the name.
Yeah.
So I called this guy at like 6 p.m. on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And he was like eating dinner. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, hey, I'm this dude from Quorum.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a company, Navtech Enterprises. I'm trying to LLC. I'm like, I tried submitting it for approval and it got denied because I need your approval. I'm like, and this has been a company that's been around since like the 90s too. It's been around for a while. I'm like, hey, can I get approved from you? I was like, okay, I'm gonna meet with my members of the company and we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. It was like back and forth like a week or two, and eventually like he gave me full like letter, saying I could use the name. It's like, oh, thank God. I'm like, so I submitted that. I went all the way to Concord to the office, get everything finalized, and it finally got completed last year. So that brand is basically like the umbrella which everything is under. Exactly. So that's basically it. And building that brand is like, it's on the back burner, but all these little brands like Techmaster, Push, Exile, they all bleed into the Navtech Enterprises umbrella. Okay. Like if I was ever to have that skyscraper in Berlin, Navtech Enterprises would be right on it. Just like Stark Tower. It's like the long-term goal, if you will. Yeah. So, yeah.
So are you a co-owner of Exile? Is that the right term?
So I'm basically acting as co-owner. Not so legally, but it's basically like a full partnership. Okay. I'm entrusted with all the financial parts of the restaurant. I can do pretty much anything with it. So like that's, plus like again, me and Adam are very great friends. And he's been a great mentor as well. Yeah. It's a pretty good partnership. I want nothing more for it to succeed. I guess and I'm willing to do a lot to get it to, to that point. Yeah. So.
And how about the Iron Man suit? What's coming in the future for that? Just building as much as you can.
Yeah. So in terms of the suit, so like I mentioned, I want to start with the reactor first.
Okay.
Just because that's I mean truly the heart of the suit itself, and I've always wanted to make one, and I just keep putting it off. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna start with that first, you know, just to like say I've done it.
Yeah.
It's also relatively simple to make as well. So that's definitely first. Like I said, I was really contemplating with like a sleek style suit or like this scrappy suit. And I kind of made this hybrid. I'm like, okay, I can use like recycled kind of scrap parts underneath and plate it and have it how I want.
So have you ever had a full functioning suit from head to toe done at one time?
Yep, 2020, and I still have it. Yeah,
Okay.
we had the flamethrowers, the rocket launchers, the power system in the back, which could light 43-watt bulbs, as well as other things. Yeah, that thing was a tank, and it was actually kind of scary. It was like, I mean, I don't know how to tell you launching like 10-foot flames with your wrist feels.
Yeah,
it is actually kind of exhilarating.
I'm sure.
Like, okay, like I could just explode right now.
Yeah,
I could just die. You know, but it's worth it when you see it and you're like, I'm Iron Man.
Yeah,
like there's no better feeling than that. Knowing you've actually achieved like what you've seen in the movie, like growing up, is, you know. Yeah, it definitely is worth it's worth the risk of death.
Yeah,
honestly, for me. So, yeah.
Is there anything else you want to cover?
I don't think so, although I will say that, you know, for anyone watching, I think that one of the most important lessons I've learned in the last few years is that it is up to you and only you to shift your life to where you want it to be.
Totally.
It's not up to anyone else. It is up to you and only you to shift your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very, for some people, especially me, like I grew up I was like higher middle class.
Yeah.
You know, I was only child, you know, again, Tony Stark, give me a break.
Yeah.
Only child. So like I had everything growing up. I had toys, you know, I had food, I had, you know, heat, water, you know, I was very privileged for middle class.
Yeah.
Didn't have to share, you know. And once you're removed from once that divorce happened, I was removed from that situation at 22, you know, and I was out on my own now. It was like, okay, nobody's going to save me now. I'm like, now I'm like actually on my own.
Yeah. And,
you know, once I kind of got to a point where I was stable and I wanted more, I'm like, okay, like nobody's going to give me a business. I'm like, I have to achieve, you know, and I do everything on my own, you know, nobody's going to build an Iron Man suit for me. Yeah. I got to build it myself, you know? So that's kind of like one of the realizations I had, and that applies to everybody. You know, everybody has to do what you want, like, you know, in your own way, and it's up to you to do it, you know? So
is there an end goal with the Iron Man suit? Like, is it something that you would want to maybe like produce at some point, or is it more just a good journey that, you know, is a good thing to grow your social media and obviously a hobby that you enjoy to do? But is there any end goal of it?
The end goal is to basically just be a rich guy who has an Iron Man. Okay, so that's really, I mean, honestly, like, you know, because like when I was in high school, I'm like, oh, maybe I could sell it to the military. They already got like, I mean, classified stuff, like nuclear I mean, they already got it. Okay, there's nothing I could offer to them. They'd be like, you know what, we'll buy it. No, they got it already. Yeah. You know, and in terms of like, you know, other big companies, it's like, you know, and I've built it into more of like an identity for myself. You know, the suit truly is an extension of myself, and the suits that I build, I find, are actually extensions of myself at that given time. Like the scraps that I built when my life was in pieces, like. I took pieces of scrap and did what I could with them. And that's exactly what I did in 2020. When the world was falling apart, my personal world was falling apart, I did the best I could. And it's the same now, where it's like, okay, I got all this, like, you know, rusty parts under me. Like, I got all this stuff that, like, I'm carrying with me still, but I'm presentable and sleek on the outside. And I'm actually, like, I have the confidence to go out in public and be like, you know, this is who I am, you know, and have my identity out in display. But in terms of, like, selling the suit, you know, I've actually had offers from people, like very wealthy, like artists who are also investors, offer to buy like my suits and have like a commission, basically, you know, hey, like I'll give you like this amount for you to build me a suit. But it's like, when I build a suit, it takes a lot of, I guess a lot of, like, it's very spiritual for me too. It's not just like, you know, I'm gonna do some weld. It is like, I pour my soul into these pieces, you know, like it's really, they're extensions of myself. You know, and it's like, you know, I have an image, I have a character. Eventually, I'd love to eventually make like a comic out of it as well. You know, I have a very specific design for this suit. It's not just like an Iron Man. It doesn't look like Iron Man at all, actually.
Yeah, and I didn't know if I should feel bad calling it an Iron Man suit.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah,
because I didn't know. Do you have like a different name for it or anything like that?
I do. I am keeping it under wraps
Okay.
for now, though.
All right.
I'm waiting till I can almost get it like trademarked, just because I'm actually very like paranoid about people like stealing
yeah. I get it.
You know.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, people with ridiculous amounts of money be like, hey, that's a great idea, mine. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm very like skeptical when it comes to like sharing some of those ideas out. But in terms of like the face of it, I came up with the design for the helmet in 2022, revised it. And now it's like, like, wow, like I actually see myself in this. I combined a lot of different inspirations. There's some Iron Man in there, some RoboCop, some Darth Vader, some Boba Fett, and some Batman as well. It's like it's a very unique style for it, actually. And also some Symbiotic Titan as well. I love that show. It's a Cartoon Network.
What was it?
Symbiotic Titan.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever seen it.
It only ran for 2 years. Yeah. It was like I think Gennady Tartakovsky, he's like done a lot of like famous like cartoons in Cartoon Network, especially mid to early 2000s. I probably botched his last name, but he's a great director.
Yeah.
He's, awesome. And that cartoon was a huge inspiration for the suit as well, just because like again, in that cartoon, it's like you have this robot who basically like takes these two people, who have their own exosuits, and they combine to make one super suit. Yeah. And it's like that was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So it's kind of takes inspiration from that as well. But yeah, I definitely would love to like, when I'm probably in my 30s, take I don't want to say a break from entrepreneurship, but really start to get into storytelling, because I love doing that as well. I've always been a very natural storyteller. Everyone, like all my neighbors are younger than me. I used to tell them stories and make up like off the spot. I'd like to pick up a rock and make a story about it.
Yeah.
So like I really enjoy that too. I've kind of suppressed that part of me. I did a lot of it like 2019 before I started building. But it'll come back at some point, just in the right time. I have to build my own story before I can make others. And I'm also combining like some of my life experiences into the story as well.
You ever thought about maybe like a documentary or something about the whole journey?
Yeah, once it's over.
Right. You can't do a documentary when you haven't done it all the way through.
Yet, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I especially an autobiography too. Both, all the above. Honestly, like once I achieve it and people can be like watch it and track it from the very beginning. It'll be pretty cool. And I actually uploaded vlog 1 to my YouTube channel as well, which like kind of started from like 2012 all the way to like 2025. It was like that whole time period.
And it's not like you have to worry about having footage for a documentary or something, right? Because you're pretty much documenting every step.
I have all of it. Yeah. I mean, I record now, like I said, 2 twin iPhone 16s. That stand in particular is recording for, I have 2 phones, one for vertical and one for horizontal. So I can upload the exact same footage to any platform in any ratio. Which is like, amazing. I tried square ratio. They don't like it.
That's the thing that sucks. Like,
hate it. They absolutely hate it.
It totally makes sense what you're doing, because like we'll take this and of course we'll like put clips on TikTok and stuff. But then it's in the wrong format, so it's all zoomed in and blurry and stuff. So, I
mean, the algorithms just despise square ratio.
I know.
They're like, you gotta pick one. And it's like, there's things I've recorded in like, 9:16 or 16:9 ratio, and this. I'm like, God, like I'd love to put this like on a phone, but it's like I can't. It's a recorded landscape.
Totally.
Right after the whole state prison thing didn't work out, I'm like, I'm gonna go all in. Went to the AT&T store. I have like a crazy, ludicrous phone bill. I'm like, I want 2 of these phones, and at the time the 16s were brand new. And the guy was like, wait a minute. So he's like, you have a 15 Pro Max, and he's like, you want a 16? I'm like, I do, but I want another 16 after that. It's like, okay. It's like, I'll take the image. It's like, all right, and he kind of gave me an estimate of the phone bill. He's like, it's gonna be about this. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. Like, whatever. It's you only live once. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I don't take the risk on myself,
exactly.
What's the point of living? Honestly.
And when you have risk and payments and such, it makes you work harder, right?
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like an incentive to like, okay, now I gotta really push. Because I got this like $500,000 phone bill that I gotta pay every month. And I've been able to make every payment. I've made it work out. So it's like, okay, it was worth it. It's not like I got the phone shut off or taken away. It's like it worked out. So I'm glad I did it. But really taking the chance and the risk on yourself is
absolutely
the most important. And again, right before that, it's the realization that it's up to you to take the risk. So Yeah, the realization and then the action, the two very important things of like
Yeah.
moving forward. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can't give in. You can't give up.
Nope. you really can't. So yeah, because if you do, then like you said, you've lost.
Yeah,
completely.
exactly.
Then it's over.
Yeah.
You always get to decide when it's over.
Exactly.
Exactly. With every day that passes, you get to
Yeah.
decide. You know, and you'll have like, you know, again, relationships will try to stop you. Your
Yeah.
parents even,
Yeah.
which is like I experienced myself. I've experienced the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Parents, relationships, friends, jobs, being like, you know, what are you doing? You know, it's like, get off your phone. You know, I'm like trying to edit at Lowe's. And
Yeah.
like, you get fired. You know, using their like crappy ass Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
out in the garden department, like hiding behind plants and shit, trying to watch my video and shot. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it. You know,
Yeah.
and I feel for the people that are like me, that like are stuck in jobs that I've worked. I've done retail for 8 years.
Yeah.
You know, always trying to figure out. Most importantly, since 2020, like trying to like, you know, again, edit on the go and like, you know, upload on time.
Yeah.
It's so hard. There's always something that gets in the way. You know, I wanted like a January 1st, like, you know, fresh start date. That didn't happen. You know, but it's like, okay, I'm not going to just say, you know, screw this year's over.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
start
you
it,
can't,
you know?
yeah.
It's like, so I'm like, okay, I'll give myself a week time for. I'm not going to be like, you know, I'll start February 1st now. I'll give myself a week, get my stuff together, you know, work in the restaurant, work on, you know, social media. And, you know, again, just, you know, maybe set the goalpost a little bit farther back, but again, it's still there. You know, the goalpost is still standing. It's like, okay, you know. So yeah, that is, I think, I mean, if you got any more questions.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Thanks for coming on. You can plug, you know, your Instagram, your TikToks, whatever you'd like right now if you want.
Yeah, it's the.techmaster on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. My handles are the exact same. Although my 2 alternate TikTok accounts are the.techmaster with like an underscore, and then the second one has 2 underscores for some reason. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Go to Exile Burrito.
Yeah, Exile on Main Street in Berlin, New Hampshire.
And be on the lookout for Push too, right?
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
going to be interesting. The website is going to be probably the most challenging thing to build, because I want it to be also like unique to match the brand. So that's going to be kind of a pain. But like AI is there now, so that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
all right, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, man.